Vlog, bitches. Vlog. Series 183.
Wait, who's this sexy motherfucker on the screen right now? I think he's known as the Yuckster himself. Vlog number 183. Bench pressing 160-pound dumbbells for reps for his warm-up. Anyway, bitches, here we go on to some questions. Serious.
Alright, so you guys don't know this, but we just filmed a 12-minute block, voiced over this whole video, gave you guys the most entertaining shit I've ever created, and then it wasn't even recording.
It's all good because we can top anything and everything. Anything you can do, I can do better.
Alright, Saul wants to know, how do you manage bodybuilding in college? I'm kind of pissed off because we just talked about this.
Yeah.
Fucking shit.
You know what? Drop out. Next question. Cheers.
That's what I did. Cheers.
No, I'm just kidding.
Alright, so how do you bodybuild while doing college? It kind of feels redundant because I just talked about this, but macros. Get on a calorie target. That's going to be the easiest, the most efficient way to go about it. Hit your protein, have your goal calories that you're going through. Hit your macros if you want to get even more specific, and let that be it. Get your vegetables, get your fruits, do the macros, and fuck meal timing. Fuck the frequency. However your classes allow you to eat, just do it based off that, and don't worry about anything else. So the micros, macros, fuck everything else. Now there's the issue about, you know, your food, the dining hall, buffets. How do you cook food in your room, since you know you don't really have appliances and whatnot?
True that.
What would you say about that, Chris?
All right, guys. So, you know, being that we both went to college, Matt dropped out. I graduated on the dean's list as an amazing college graduate of peace.
Fuck you, serious.
Serious. We can kind of relate. In college, most people have dining commons where, you know, it's kind of like an all-you-can-eat buffet sort of thing. It might be like a meal plan that you have. So I'm assuming a lot of you guys can relate to what I'm saying. And then you have your dorm room or your little room that you share with somebody, or you might not share with someone, but your own little space where you have to, you know, work with the food that you got, or work with the, you know, the small budget you may have for food aside from your meal plan. When this guy asks, how do you manage bodybuilding and, you know, college, it's one thing to talk about competitive bodybuilding, which is going to be a small fraction of people. So let's go ahead and talk about bodybuilding in terms of just general bodybuilding, getting swole, getting shredded, and looking good. So if I'll just give a general rule here. Tell me if you disagree, Matt. If you're bulking, use the dining commons to your advantage. Use that meal plan. Make sure you're eating enough to gain at the rate that you want to gain. About a half pound a week should be solid. Make sure you're getting enough protein in so that you're ensuring enough, you know, optimal muscle gains, and also progressing in the gym. Those are the only things you should be worrying about: getting enough protein, and then the rest of the calories will be covered in the dining commons. Just make sure your weight's not going out of control. If you're cutting, see if you can minimize the dining common consumption, or just buy foods in bulk and put them in your room. Cheaper foods, you know, college priced foods, things like tuna, eggs for your protein and fat sources. You know, you have almonds for your carbs. You can get oats, rice. All these things are really cheap. So you can find cheap sources. You know, protein powder is going to be the cheapest pound for pound thing you can possibly buy for protein, for example. So you can buy these things. Hit your macros on point while you're cutting. So if you're cutting, try to stick to that. If you're not, if you're bulking, use the dining commons. You know, don't be afraid of doing that. Don't be afraid of your macros being off a little bit, because you're bulking, and the extra calories, you know, an extra couple hundred calories in a day is not going to hurt you as long as you're balancing things out and your weight's not going out of control. So, you know, obviously if you're competitive bodybuilding, that's a different story. You got to be 100% on point with everything. But if you're bulking in college, which we think you should be considering you're young, just bulk throughout, you know, nice and slowly, get stronger, get swole, add muscle, and then worry about your cut later on.
Definitely agree. And definitely you probably want a refrigerator in your room to hold fruits and vegetables, because you definitely should be getting 2 or more of each per day, and then just hit your macros.
Not to mention you want that fridge for when you got to pop bottles for them bitches. All right, next question.
All right, bulking for a while and food is getting nasty. Mashik says it's hard to eat, and food is just calories for him. There's no taste. He just needs to get it in. what tips do we have for this guy? So there's a lot of people out there with high caloric goals, just because their metabolism runs high. Maybe they got a lot of muscle on them, and they just don't like eating. It's no appetite. Food doesn't taste good. First of all, that's kind of like the opposite of our situation. Like, we love food. There's so many fucking foods out there. It's ridiculous. You got there's like thousands of vegetables, thousands of different freaking fruits, all different kinds of candy bars, cereals, cake. There's so many foods out there, and I feel like if someone feels like the food doesn't taste good,
food you don't like, I can't believe that. I can't believe that.
You mean you can't find a food that you do like?
If you can't find a food you like, I cannot. Like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, dude. Serious. Get on that. There's like Matt said, there's so many foods. There's no way in hell you can't find a food that you don't like, or that you like.
Yeah. And there was one other thing, like I said in the last video. At least for me, if food tastes like nothing to you, like cardboard, despite it being like Fiber One mixed with Cinnamon Toast Crunch with almond milk, something delicious. If food doesn't taste like anything to you, it may be an indicator that your caloric intake is just a little bit too high. At least that's what it was for me. I noticed that when my caloric intake was through the roof, just from slamming down like juice every night. Food just wasn't that tasty. It was not as tasty as when I'm hungry or nearer my maintenance calories. So definitely for me, food tasting not delicious was an indicator that my caloric intake was too high. I was putting on a little bit too much fat. So maybe that's one thing that might help you, is taking down that caloric intake just a little bit. And of course, there's Michael Corey. Go to his channel. Maybe you might find some foods that you might like. But seriously, just broaden your horizons a little bit. There's so many different kinds of cereals, fruits, vegetables, nuts, fucking everything, man. Like girls, like there's so much out there. Like there has to be something you like.
So let me get this straight. You don't like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, chocolate, or ice cream? Please. There's just no way. Peanut butter gets the calories up there, if you need fat sources. Protein powder, you got MTS Whey's delicious. It's hard not to like. And your carb sources are cheap and delicious. Like I said, cereals, you can get ice creams, frozen yogurt. You don't like going out to Froyo? Like, there's no way you're going to find a food that you like. Just be open to it. If you tend to be a picky person, open your horizons. I promise you there's delicious foods out there. So I think that's that.
Yeah, and this is all considering you're also eating your fruits and vegetables, getting your macros. You can eat anything as long as you don't have any medical conditions that restrict you from high amounts of sugar. All right, next question was from Brian. How much strength have we lost during our cut? Actually, pound for pound, both of us got stronger on all lifts. And it was funny because eventually there was a point when I stopped getting pound for pound stronger. And that was right around my competition times and also during my reverse diet. So during my reverse diet, instantly put on just a couple pounds of fat from, after the show. And also just from working my calories back up. Pound for pound, I started getting weaker at that point, just by a little bit, as I actually brought my lifts back up. Funny thing, right? But during my cut and during Chris's cut, we both got pound for pound stronger, just from really focusing on the lifts themselves, not changing up the rep ranges that we were normally doing. And honestly, like, a lot of people have a cut as an excuse to get weak, or an excuse to have just easier rep ranges, like those 15, 20, 25 set reps, or 25 rep sets and stuff. Just keep things how they were, and you should be doing just fine. Really focus on gym performance, hitting the macros, and literally nothing else, and also hitting your micros when it comes to cutting, and you should be doing pretty fine. Both of us got stronger, although overall we did get a little bit weaker in certain lifts. Like for me, for example, my bench 1 rep max probably went from like 340-ish, 345-ish down to 320-ish perhaps. My squat went down. It kept going up for a while. It went down probably from the 460, 470 that it was at, down towards 440, maybe 450. I'm kind of guessing based on my rep sets, not 1 rep maxes. And funny thing, my deadlifts actually went up all the way until I had a little issue just a couple weeks ago. So I got pretty much stronger on everything. And what about you, Chris?
Same. That point at the very end of the cut where, you're just lethargic and your body just doesn't have enough fat to give you the performance you need. You know, physically, there's nothing you can do about it. There comes a turning point, but I would say that's just for competitive level conditioning, you know. After that, once I reached that point, I actually I took a little bit of a different approach. I actually switched my compound lifts, like my squats and deadlifts, to things like hack squats and machines that I was still able to overload a lot of weight on, and not have to, you know, deal with the core stability and things like that towards the very end of the cut. Now, that's just an approach I took. I'm not saying that's going to be right for everybody, but it was just a way for me to push more weight and keep on the heavy weight while I was cutting towards the very end. So that's important, you know, while you're cutting, especially while you're cutting, lift heavy. You know, lifting high reps is definitely not a good idea. Keep the sets where they were. Don't fix what's not broken.
Holy fuck, look at my back. Sorry.
Yeah, dude, you look like you have, like,
a camel hump. Strong.
Dude, I would ride you through shit.
Dude, I need to fix that shit. All right, guys, know where I'm fixing it.
Nice ass. By the way, and before gay for pay comments, nice stringer, just dope hairline. Sorry, what's the next question?
All right, we gotta finish this last one quick. Where's the last question? How much so do squats, deadlifts, and weighted ab exercises make your waist bigger? Misconception, in our opinion. It's more so a coincidence, not even correlation, not even a causation, that squatting, deadlifting, bench pressing, and just weightlifting in general increases your waist size, because that's a bone structure thing. No matter what, a girl with a thin waist is gonna have a thin waist in terms of bone structure. Now, it might change based on how much fat she has on her, but muscularity, adding muscularity, you don't add muscularity there. It just doesn't.
Right. It's like saying how much wider will your clavicles get from doing lat raises? No.
Sorry about that. Keep going.
Oh, it's like saying, okay, from lateral raises, how much wider do your clavicles get? No. You know, your abs grow, they develop, but it's a front to back thing. Like, they develop, they'll look good once you train them, you know, for example, but you can't get wider. Your hips can't get wider, just like your clavicles can't get wider no matter how much shoulder pressing you do or lateral raises. Your clavicle is a bone structure issue. Your hip waist is a bone structure issue. That doesn't change with what type of training you do or what muscles you train. The muscles themselves get developed, but your abs don't go out to the sides, do they? No, and your obliques are simply just there genetically how they are. You don't build to the side. Your body doesn't build to the side.
And I think what this stems from is seeing the biggest powerlifters out there. And obviously, the guys lifting the most amounts of weight, they're going to have a decently high amount of body fat on their body as well. And it's kind of this misconception. You see these guys lifting the most amounts of weight, and you automatically assume that powerlifters who do these exercises, that these exercises are what cause them to be that way, and that's not the case. In fact, their bone structure may lend towards them being better at certain lifts. For example, having wider hips might help for some people with squat per se. But then, of course, you have the exact opposite. You have guys like Steve Cleva who are amazing at deadlifts, squats, and so on, and they have the best V-taper ever. You know?
Small waist, big shoulders. So there's no correlation, no causation, anything like that between a wide blocky waist and weightlifting. I mean, you genetically, you're built how you're built, and the way you train is not going to determine the width of your waist or your waist structure or getting you wider in the hips. That's just genetically how you're born. So
now, adding fat to your body, that's a different thing. Yeah, you might make you look wider.
Right.
Anyway,
guys, that's the end of this video.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you.
Peace. Stay yucky.
Hey, quit being a little bitch. Ogus cake.